Hi there, my name is Benja and I'm the Music Hippie, and this is a video review of the latest album by Nothing But Thieves called Moral Panic, which is probably one of the most fitting album names of 2020 so far. Nothing But Thieves are an English rock band who formed in 2012 and started gaining recognition after the release of their self-titled debut album in 2015. I still remember seeing the music video for the track Ban All the Music back in 2015, and since then I've been hooked to this band. Leading up to and during the release of their debut in 2015, Nothing But Thieves toured with bigger artists such as AWOL Nation, Gerard Way, 21 Pilots, Buffy Cairo, and even Muse. In 2017, Nothing But Thieves delivered one of the best albums of the year called Broken Machine. Broken Machine gave the band the opportunity to work in larger studios, to spend more time and focus more energy on expanding their sound and experimenting on different production techniques. Frontman Connor Mason is an artist with a very unique vocal delivery and a vocal range that would give the best of them a run for their money. The band has previously dabbled in themes of mental health and personal struggles in their debut, and with their sophomore album they dealt more with themes of politics, religion and bigotry. After Broken Machine, Nothing But Thieves released an EP and a couple of singles, keeping them relevant and keeping their fans in anticipation for their next LP, and boy did they deliver. The expectations for their latest LP was set so high thanks to Broken Machine, but it feels like this new album really could stand on its own. As with their previous albums, Moral Panic has a good blend of hard-hitting, thumping guitar riffs paired with a killer drum production, especially on tracks like Unperson and Is Everybody Crazy. But the album also lulls back down in a way with some balladry and even acoustic guitars and a string section on songs like Real Love Song, Impossible, and Before We Drift Away. Moral Panic was mostly written back in 2019, when it seemed to Mason and guitarist Joe Langridge Brown that the world was falling into a pit, and as he called it, a wounded, sinister place on the track Is Everybody Going Crazy. Even though most of the tracks were written back in 2019, the album as a whole feels like the love child of the band's experiences of 2019 and the entire world's experience of the disastrously mishandled situation of 2020. In the words of Connor Mason, Moral Panic is more about consolidating with someone else while still looking at the extremity of what's going on around us. Mason also recently credited some of his influences, stating that in the last 2 years he was studying different genres and different chord progressions, and he said that, especially hip-hop and pop, I studied flow and rhythm so much that it's become ingrained in me. It's become such a part of me and us to want to do better all the time. Even though hearing of a rock band that has influences in hip-hop and pop can easily leave a sour taste in a fan's mouth, this is definitely not the case with Moral Panic. The opening track, Unperson, starts the album off with a fat, hard-hitting layered guitar riff, and the thick drums really pack a punch. The track reflects on the imperfections of human life, and also the dependency we as humans have on technology. Mason also compares himself to another clone of a clone of a clone, seemingly disconnected from his own identity. The single Is Everybody Going Crazy was a song that might have given some doubts to some fans before the release of the LP, but not in any way saying that this song is bad or there's something wrong with the track. The track has another super catchy guitar riff and some synth lines throughout that really adds to the overall vibe of the track. The album also has a couple of slow burners, where the songs feel like they could burst open at any moment in spectacular Nothing But Thieves fashion. One such a cut is the title track Moral Panic, where the first verse and chorus pulls back a bit before opening up in the second verse, introducing the song to a heavy drum groove. Moral Panic brings the aforementioned pop influences into the light, but with an unmistakable Nothing But Thieves flair. Although the track does build up after the second chorus, it feels like it should explode into a final massive chorus, but unfortunately we as listeners and as fans only get teased, and the explosion never truly gets unveiled. Real Love Song isn't your typical love song where everything is about blue skies and red roses, but rather about the reality of true love, the crying, the hurt and the agony of being away from each other, and ultimately a love that endures, overcomes and always stays true. The chorus of Real Love Song is arena worthy, and Mason's vocal performance is really something that makes the entire album worth it, even if this was the only good track on the entire LP. Nothing But Thieves clearly wears their influences on their sleeves, and the track Phobia is no exception. The majority of the track builds slow, but with a production reminiscent of Muse, and in some places even reminds me of a Billie Eilish track in the very best way possible. Halfway through the track, the Muse-esque guitar riff drops hard and builds on each verse, and later on introduces another break with another killer guitar riff. And accompanied with Mason's vocals, this track might even compare with massive anthem-like songs. The track It Feels Like the End reminds me of the song Amsterdam, which is one of their leading songs off of their previous album, and it even starts with a similar rhythm and melody. The cut might not have the same impact that Amsterdam had, but the track still has a killer chorus and some powerful guitar rhythms. This track might hit harder as a single, but on Moral Panic as an album, it feels a little bit dwarfed by some of the other tracks. The track Free If You Want It is apparently one of Mason's proudest moments lyrically, and he stated that, "I think it's a very classic songwriting Tom Petty-esque tune that we've slipped into a modernity whilst we can. I wouldn't normally say this, but I felt when I was recording it and when I sang it like I was in a bizarre pocket of emotion." And yes, the song is filled with emotion, but whether it's the best performance Mason has ever given, I'm not too sure about that, but it's still a great tune. Talk about emotion, the track Impossible is another love song type tune with a catchy chorus that makes you want to scream it at the top of your lungs. The track There Was Sun feels like an early 2000s pop song, and compared to some of the previous tracks on Moral Panic, it falls a bit short and might be the most forgettable off of the track list. There is a pretty cool synth line and a guitar solo, but it's not nearly as impactful as it should have been to make this track stand out. The band again lets their influences shine through on the track Can You Afford to Be an Individual, where there seems to be an underlying Rage Against the Machine vibe, from the Tom Morello-esque guitar lines to the almost rap vocals. There are some interesting guitar riffs on the track, but Mason flourishes in his high vocal stretches and his powerful falsettos, and that's not that prevalent on this track, and this might make it a little bit less memorable than some of the other tracks. The closing track Before We Drift Away brings the album down to a shimmering end. This cut feels like the softest and prettiest track on Moral Panic, comparable to Particles from Broken Machine. This is also the only track with an added string segment, and this adds such emotive flavor to not only the track but to the album as a whole. Mason's vocals are so powerful and filled with emotions, and that accompanied with the classic instrumentals of this track can really tug at the heartstrings. Moral Panic is a very memorable album and could easily be one of the best rock or alternative rock albums of the year, and it feels like it could even be an anthem album of 2020. From the production, the instrumentals, the lyrics, the catchy melodies, and especially the explosive, massive vocal performance by Connor Mason are all things that bring this album together and make this album such a fantastic LP. I wouldn't say that Moral Panic is the best or even my favorite Nothing But Thieves album, but it's really an LP that can definitely hold its own. Moral Panic is a great addition to an already amazing Nothing But Thieves discography, and has all the needed parts to help build an amazing kick-ass alternative rock playlist. I'll definitely have this album on repeat for at least the next couple of weeks, and the same as with the previous two albums, I will always make sure to keep it downloaded on my Apple Music account. Moral Panic might not be the best Nothing But Thieves album, but it deserves a solid 7.5 out of 10 for a truly emotional and inspirational album. Cool, that pretty much wraps up my review of Moral Panic by Nothing But Thieves. If you enjoyed the review and if you agree with my thoughts on the album, please let me know by saying something nice in the comments below, and consider subscribing and hitting the thumbs up. Then I'll see you next time. Cheers.